What if you faced an impossible choice? Bury a fortune in pirate gold or watch your entire family die? In the summer of 1699, a terrified islander named John Gardner was given that exact choice. This isn't a scene from a movie. This is the true story of Captain Kidd's treasure, the most famous and well-documented instance of a pirate burying his loot that was ever actually found. And the truth behind it is far more dramatic than any legend. Think of a pirate. You're probably picturing a grizzled sailor, a heavy chest, and an X marking the spot on a secret map. For centuries, that image has fueled blockbuster films and endless real-life treasure hunts. But what if I told you that almost the entire concept is a myth? That pirates almost never buried their treasure, and the legends are built on a single extraordinary event. This is the story of that event. It's a story not of cartoonish villains, but of a desperate man caught in a political storm. His name was Captain William Kidd, and by 1699 he was the most wanted man on the high seas. He wasn't just a pirate, he was a privateer, a pirate hunter who had been accused of turning on his own masters. And as he sailed back to America with his life on the line, he carried a fortune in gold and jewels. He needed to hide it, and hide it fast. His plan led him to a remote private island, and to an unwilling accomplice who would become a key player in one of history's greatest treasure legends. So why would Captain Kidd bury treasure when almost no other pirate did? Because he wasn't your typical pirate. William Kidd didn't start out as a bloodthirsty outlaw. He was a respected and highly successful privateer, essentially a legal, government-sanctioned pirate hired by England to protect its colonies and attack enemy ships. He was backed by some of the wealthiest men in the British Empire, including the influential Earl of Bellamont, the governor of New York and Massachusetts. In 1696, Kidd was given a grand commission. Aboard a powerful new 34-gun warship, the Adventure Galley, his mission was to hunt down pirates in the Indian Ocean. But the voyage was a disaster. Legitimate pirate targets were scarce, and his crew, promised riches, grew restless and mutinous. The line between privateering and piracy is dangerously thin, and under immense pressure, Kidd crossed it. He attacked and captured the Quedagh Merchant, a massive Indian trading vessel. Now it was sailing under French passes, which technically made it a legal prize. But the ship's cargo was owned by figures with ties to the powerful British East India Company, and the political fallout was immediate. News traveled fast. The man sent to hunt pirates was now being branded as one himself. His powerful backers in London, fearing scandal, disavowed it. The King of England declared him a wanted pirate, and warships were dispatched to hunt him down. Kidd knew he was in grave danger. His only hope was to reach his primary sponsor, Governor Bellamont in America, and convince him of his innocence. He believed the vast treasure of the Quedagh Merchant could be his bargaining chip. So he sold off some of his goods, abandoned his now infamous ship, and purchased a smaller, faster sloop to make a desperate dash for New York. He was sailing not to hide a fortune for a rainy day, but to save his own neck. In June of 1699, a small sloop dropped anchor in the calm waters of Gardner's Bay, just off the coast of Long Island, New York. This was Gardner's Island, a private kingdom that had been owned by the Gardner family since 1639. Its proprietor was John Gardner, a sturdy, well-respected landowner. For 2 days, the mysterious ship just sat in the harbor, causing unease on the shore. Finally, Gardner and a few of his men rowed out to investigate. Aboard the sloop, he was greeted by its captain, a man who introduced himself as William Kidd. The encounter at first was surprisingly friendly. Kidd wasn't a monster. He was a man trying to project confidence. To show his good faith and to pay for provisions, he offered gifts. For John Gardner's wife, he presented a stunning piece of gold cloth, woven with shimmering thread, which he claimed was taken from a Moorish ship. He also provided a sack of sugar, a rare luxury at the time. In a darker sign of his recent travels, he also left several enslaved people he had captured on the island for safekeeping. John Gardner had dealt with pirates before. His island was a known stop for ships needing supplies. He was cautious, but Kidd's amicable behavior might have put him at ease. He was an influential man dealing with another man who, despite the rumors, still carried himself with authority. For a few days, a strange and tense peace settled over the island. It seemed like a simple, if unusual, business transaction. But Kidd's true purpose for being there had not yet been revealed. Soon enough, the friendly charade ended. Captain Kidd's desperation began to show. He approached John Gardner with a request that was not a request at all. It was a demand. He needed Gardner to take a heavy chest and a box ashore and bury them in a secret location. Kidd didn't want to know the spot himself, a tactical decision to ensure only Gardner could retrieve it. The location was a ravine hidden deep within the island's interior. And then came the chilling ultimatum. According to the legend that has been passed down for centuries, Kidd looked the islander in the eye and delivered a deadly warning. If Gardner told anyone about the treasure, or if it was not there when Kidd returned to claim it, he would have Gardner's head or his son's. In that moment, John Gardner was no longer a business partner. He was a hostage, his family's lives collateral for a pirate's gold. While Gardner's official court testimony later omitted this direct threat, likely out of fear or legal caution, the story of the deadly warning became the most enduring part of the legend. So what was in this treasure that was worth killing for? Thanks to the meticulous inventory later ordered by the court, we know exactly what Gardner buried. It wasn't just a simple chest of coins. It contained bags of gold dust, bars of silver, Spanish silver coins, rubies, and sparkling diamonds. There were also ornate silver candlesticks and porringers, valuable household items that told the story of the plundered ships. This wasn't a mythical hoard of immeasurable value. It was a specific cataloged cache of wealth, and it was now buried in the soil of Gardner's Island, guarded by a terrifying secret. With his treasure safely buried, Captain Kidd sailed away, firing a 4-gun salute as he left Gardner's Island. He headed north for Boston, where Governor Bellamont was waiting. Kidd still clung to the hope that he could use his political connections and the knowledge of his hidden treasure to negotiate for his life and clear his name. He had fatally miscalculated. Governor Bellamont, the man Kidd saw as his protector, had already turned on him. The political pressure was too great, and Bellamont chose to save his own reputation by sacrificing his former partner. Instead of a negotiation, Kidd was met with arrest. He was thrown in jail in Boston, his desperate gambit having failed completely. The governor wasted no time. An official order was sent to John Gardner on his isolated island. He was commanded to dig up the treasure and deliver it to Boston immediately to be used as evidence in the trial against the pirate Kidd. Imagine Gardner's position. On one hand, a pirate had threatened to murder his family if the treasure was touched. On the other, the colonial government was demanding it. He wisely chose to obey the law. Gardner led the authorities to the secret ravine, and the chest and box were unearthed. Every piece of gold, every silver bar, and every jewel was meticulously counted and cataloged. The entire cache was then shipped to England, where it would serve as the star exhibit in the trial of Captain William Kidd. It was the physical proof the prosecution needed. The very treasure Kidd had hoped would be his salvation had now become the primary instrument of his doom. Captain William Kidd was eventually sent to London, where he was found guilty of piracy and murder in a trial many believe was politically motivated and deeply unfair. He was hanged at Execution Dock in 1701. The treasure from Gardner's Island, the only part of his legendary fortune ever found, was confiscated by the Crown. This single true story of buried treasure is the bedrock upon which our entire pirate mythology is built. It's an event believed to have inspired the X on the map in Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island and countless other tales. But the reality was not a romantic adventure. It was a story of a man trapped by circumstance, a landowner caught in an impossible situation, and a treasure that was less a source of riches and more a catalyst for ruin. The Gardner's Island cache debunks the myth that pirates routinely buried their loot. Instead, it reveals the desperate, high-stakes reality of a life on the edge of the law. It's the one pirate treasure story that's completely true, and that makes it the greatest treasure story of all. If you found this slice of real pirate history fascinating, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that uncover the truth behind the legends. And let us know in the comments, faced with a pirate's threat and a governor's command, what would you have done in John Gardner's position?